What's cracking? What's cracking? What's cracking, y'all? So, if you're new to my content, welcome. I appreciate you being here. The type of content I make, I talk about basketball because I like balling. I talk about drama, YouTube, TikTok, clout chasers, random takes I may have on different videos that I may see. You know, if you're just looking for someone who's going to make you laugh or someone you feel like has a decent basketball opinion, I'm the guy for you. I like to diversify my content, so here, time and time again, if you find basketball interesting, I'm going to have videos for you. If you find just random drama bullshit interesting, I'm definitely going to have videos for you. So, with that getting out the way, making sure that intro is out the way, my Discord is up here. If you guys want to follow it, give me suggestions, write in the comments, like, comment, subscribe. And let's get this shit started. Today we're going to be reacting to JxmyHighroller's. I use data to find the closest player to LeBron in the entire NBA. And shockingly, I'm in this video at the end because it's me. Nah, but in all seriousness, let's crack this off. Let's get started.
While watching this summer's Olympics, I couldn't help but to think, now more than ever, LeBron is an absolute anomaly. Truly a one of one. In the NBA's near 80-year history, there's never been a player quite like him. I mean, go through the laundry list of players both past and present who have drawn comparisons, and none of them are all that similar to LeBron. An unfair blend of size and speed, the strength of a big with the skills of a guard, an alleged pass-first player who bulldozed his way to the most points in NBA history. And all of this got me thinking, who is the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA right now? It's a question that I've always wanted to know the answer to. And after spending countless hours looking at the data, crunching the numbers, and comparing players from all around the league to LeBron, from the playmaking to the size, the shooting, the play style, I finally have the answer. And the most similar player to LeBron is not who you think it is.
Here's my thing, right? I don't know what player he's going to say, but there's a lot of players that have similar play styles to LeBron. I just don't know what player you could say is like a comparison to LeBron. Like, for example, Luka's play style of being able to find the open man, or Jokic's play style, sorry. I confused the white boys. Jokic's play style of being able to find the open man and have a knack for understanding who's open and where they're going to be. That's pretty good, but he's slow. So there's that, and he's big. But I can see that his passing is very similar to LeBron's. And now let's move over to Luka, the other white boy. Luka's play style of being able to get a bucket when necessary, get into the paint, make some moves in there. I know it's not similar in the aspect of LeBron can be strength as well as speed, and Luka's more of kind of just a little bit of a slow finesse to it. You know, he's a little chunky boy, but he's able to do that stutter stop shit. You know, he's able to stop on a dime, make you jump when you're not trying to. I think Luka being slow is the reason that other players fuck up so much, is because they're so used to fast pace. So the way he's able to just kind of, he's like, stop, but you're going so fast, so your body carries you. So, but they're able to both get a bucket, but there's many players that can get a bucket. So I guess I want to say Luka and LeBron. Luka does have a passing game at times as well, though. It's not as similar to Jokic. I feel like Jokic is more pure when it comes to passing. But, yeah, I mean, these are two play styles I can look at and see. I can see, like, there's glimpses of LeBron in there when it comes to basketball IQ, because they both have high basketball IQ, that's for sure. But as for, like, the closest player, I don't know who he's going to say. But I am interested, so let's keep going.
Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings. Football season is here, and my partners at DraftKings are ready to kick the season off with a bang. Right now, all new customers...
If you guys haven't been here before, I'll say it again. You know how I am. If I'm reacting to someone's content, we let the ad play through. But if you're going to gamble, be smart. Don't blow all your money.
Bonus bets plus 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. And you can stay in on the action and use your $250 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, you can still join in on the action with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have a shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
Also, if you're going to bet, stay away from Jason Tatum. Low word of advice.
Instantly. That's promo code JxmyHighroller only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Quick, off the top of your head, of all the active players currently in the NBA, who reminds you most of LeBron James? Of course.
I don't know. Out of all active players, I'd say we could say like Jimmy Butler's like a LeBron James light. He can handle the ball, find the open man, able to get you a bucket, decent basketball IQ, run a play, understand the opponent's play. You know, he's not as dominant, obviously. I'm not going to say he's exactly like LeBron, of course not, but that's my first guess. If I had to stop and think, the first person that kind of comes to mind.
Of course, not including himself. Who is the most similar to him? I'm sure among some of the names that come to mind, Paolo Banchero, Zion Williamson, what remains of Ben Simmons, and Luka Doncic are all viable candidates. But even those guys...
Again, Luka is just... I agree, it's just Luka doesn't have the athleticism or the speed. But he definitely is... He is thought about, that's for sure. You know, a dynamic player that's able to get it done on all sides of the ball. Like, yeah.
Despite being the closest thing, are not really all that similar.
Plus, Luka's defense I don't like. That's why I'd lean more towards Jxmy. I understand that Luka is definitely better than Jxmy as an overall player, but Jxmy's able to defend. I'm not saying Luka can't defend. I'm just saying Luka's defense is not the greatest. So is Jokic's. I know the numbers may say otherwise, but if you actually watch, those numbers are definitely flawed. Like, I'm sorry. Not to sound like a number denier here. I know I'm the analytic guy. But if you actually watch Luka and Jokic play, there's just too many defensive sets that are just broken down strictly because of those two players. But let's continue.
To LeBron. Paolo isn't as offensively dynamic as a young LeBron was, Zion isn't as good or willing of a passer, Luka isn't nearly as explosive, and Ben Simmons has pretty much stopped playing basketball altogether. Oddly enough, LeBron's game isn't even that unique. A do-it-all Swiss Army knife point forward. If anything, in today's positionless league, this archetype of player is the most common. And yet, somehow, after 21 years, not only have we not come across a single player who can do it as well as him, we have yet to see a player with a game that even resembles LeBron's. But why is that? In fact, with a game as relatively simple and effective as LeBron's, why has there not been a single player in the NBA who plays like him? This series of questions led me down a long and exhausting rabbit hole of what I believe to be the most extensive look into this topic. Who is the most similar player to LeBron James? Now, usually whenever this question comes up, the most common and possibly accurate answer involves combining two different players. A hybrid. Many fans have said LeBron is a mix between Magic Johnson and Scottie Pippen, the skills of Grant Hill with the frame of a power forward. Tracy McGrady in Karl Malone's body. CraftedNBA.com has a great tool called Doppelgangers, which uses an extensive batch of metrics to find similar players throughout the NBA. But this tool specifically looks at the results of a player's game without looking at the method in which they got those results, which is an important distinction. For example, Kevin Durant and Bam Adebayo had the same field goal percentage last season, but the shots they took to get there were wildly different.
Yeah, I would. I would not say that Bam Adebayo is the same as KD when KD is more of a sniper. You know, Bam Adebayo, most of his shots are coming from within the paint. So, yeah, I would not turn around and say, oh, these two players are absolutely similar in their play styles. Like, that's not true. If the clock's winding down, I'm probably throwing it to KD to put up a 20-footer. I'm not throwing it to Bam. Even with this field goal percentage, that's for sure.
To find real similarity, the method is just as important as the result. And so I decided to take matters into my own hands. And after hours of research, metric-based analysis, and data crunching in an attempt to solve this age-old question, I think I have the answer. An almost definitive conclusion on the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA today. And I guarantee the player who came out ahead of everyone else is not who you think it is. First, I had to reduce the entire league down to the players who had even an ounce of resemblance to LeBron and his game. Floor generals, oversized guards, hyper-athletic players, slashers, players who are just really good, bigs with guard skills, the do-it-all Swiss Army knives, high-usage guys, and because why not, Victor Wembanyama. Eventually, I was able to narrow down the list of players included in our experiment to about 70. Of those 70 players, here are the ones that scored the highest in similarity to LeBron. Now, how exactly did I quantify similarity throughout this process? Well, first I had to determine the metrics in which I wanted to measure.
First of all, you can get Jamal Murray out of here. Scotty Barnes. I don't know, maybe. DeMar? I'd keep Donovan Mitchell. See, I like Spider. My only problem with Spider, his defense is decent, but he's more of like a quick pick-your-pocket defensive type. He's not like a lock-you-down type. But okay. Lauri Markkanen. Okay. Wiggins. Harden. Tatum. Okay, obviously Paulo. Ben Simmons should just go. Jalen Brunson. That is an interesting one. Jalen Brunson. I like Jalen Brunson a lot. I don't know if I'd say his playstyle is similar to LeBron, though. Interesting. Rui Hachimura. Huh. I feel like Rui is just... He's not good at protecting the ball. He's more like a high dribble type player when you watch him play. Or 1-2 dribbles in the paint. 1-2 dribbles shot. 1-2 dribbles. So, I don't know about that one. This motherfucker, bro. Absolutely not. Aaron Gordon. Interesting. Okay. Alright. We'll see what happens.
And here are those metrics: stature, usage and creation, shooting tendencies, portability, passing, defense, athleticism, dominance, shooting ability, and play style. 10 isolated metrics that factor in each and every aspect of LeBron's game. Finding the similarities between him and any other player was the easy part. For example, take passing, which can be measured fairly accurately with passer rating, a metric that measures how frequent, effective, and efficient a player passes the ball. The metric is on a scale from 1 to 10, and LeBron's career passer rating is 7.67. That's really good. James Harden has a career passer rating of 7.37. That is also really good. Jaylen Brown has a career passer rating of 3.24, and that's not so good. To quantify just how similar these two players are to LeBron in terms of passing, we just need...
Okay, so moving forward with Jaylen Brown. Don't bet the over on him as far as assists go. Got it. Let's continue.
To figure out how much their passer rating deviates from LeBron's. In this case, James Harden's passer rating only deviates from LeBron's by 3.9%, while Jaylen Brown's passer rating deviates by 57.8%. This would give Harden a passing similarity score of 96.1% and Jaylen Brown a similarity score of 42.2%. By using this method of measurement, I calculated the similarity score of every player in our experiment across all 10 previously mentioned categories. I then tallied up their total score to find the overall most similar player to LeBron. The player with the highest score after evaluating all 10 categories is the player that shares the most in common with him. So, now that you know the method, let's see the results. Now, the first category we're going to take a look at is stature. If we were put to the task of building a basketball player in a lab with the ideal NBA frame, he would probably come out looking like LeBron. 6'9", 250 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan.
Nigga's a fucking beast. That's a beast. Did y'all know that LeBron used to play football? LeBron was a top recruit for the NFL coming out of high school. Not the NFL, college football, obviously. Not the NFL. He was a top recruit coming out of high school for colleges. They were trying to pick him up. They were shooting this nigga scholarships. There were a couple coaches that said, why don't you come play with us for a year, play football for a year, and then you can go to the NBA. You never know. Maybe you'll go to the NFL instead of the NBA. Why don't you come play? Motherfucker chose basketball instead. Can you imagine this big motherfucker as like a tight end? The way his speed, the speed he has, dog? I'm just saying. Let's keep going.
In fact, here are his exact measurements, courtesy of CraftedNBA.com. Measurements you would usually find in a power forward. And that's exactly the type of players that share the most in common with LeBron in terms of physical frame. Among the players we are evaluating, the one that has the most similar frame to LeBron is Paolo Banchero, whose measurements are almost identical to LeBron's with a similarity score of 99.1%, from his height to his weight and wingspan. The next closest players are Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Alperen Sengun, and Domantas Sabonis.
Let me tell you something. Ben Simmons is not going to win this conversation. There's no, I'm sorry. Like, Ben Simmons has just been a disappointment. Do y'all remember this famous fucking... Hold on.
You know I love LeBron. I've talked about him incessantly for a decade. I still think he is absolutely remarkable. But for the first time in 10 to 12 years, I look at the NBA, which I've watched for 4 decades, and I say this now with Ben Simmons. Hey, LeBron, we're good, bro. You can go. You don't have to. You can hang around. Still great, but you can go. We're all good here.
Motherfucker said that about Ben Simmons. I'm sorry. Ben Simmons has been a disappointment. A disappointment, just to say the least. And according to Colin, he was going to be the second coming of LeBron here, and it just did not work out. right, let's continue.
Keep in mind, although I will only be displaying the results of 20 to 30 players per category, each individual score is being factored in and will be revealed at the end. Now, in terms of shooting, not efficiency, but rather where players choose to operate on offense and take their shots, there aren't many players around the league that are very similar to LeBron. He's got the size of a power forward, and he uses that size to get to the rim and attempt 35% of his shots within 3 feet of the basket. But he also attempts nearly a quarter of his shots from behind
35% layups, 28% mid-range, 23% three-pointers. He's literally a Swiss Army knife. Wherever you need him to get a bucket, he can go get you that bucket. Anywhere on the floor. Like, that is impressive. So, I'm interested to see who he's going to try to match up with this. Because, like I said, when I think of someone like Ben Simmons now. But now... When you think of someone like Luka, like he can get and slash and dice to the paint, so I can see him maybe matching this up. But someone like a Jaylen Brown, I don't know about that one. Or someone like a Jason Tatum. Where's their attempts? What's their percentages? This is damn near a three-way split, except the three-pointers, of course. But this is good. This is interesting.
In the three-point line, players with shot selections this balanced are pretty rare. Take, for example, a player like Zion Williamson, who has the physical tools like LeBron, but he does the majority of his work right around the basket. You'd think a player like Jason Tatum might be similar to LeBron in this aspect with how well-rounded his arsenal of shots can be, but he tends to favor three-point shooting above any other shot. So,
yep, that's why I said I don't think Jason Tatum is similar when it comes to LeBron in this splits. Like, no, absolutely not. See, I know ball. Suck my dick. I'm sorry. That was just a shot to people who got mad at me. I think a few videos ago, I made a video saying that Jokic is probably one of the best players I've ever seen pick up a basketball, and he has a chance to be like top 5. He has a potential. He needs to go to a couple more finals, maybe win one more ring. He doesn't have to win every finals he goes to. He's got to go a couple more times, win one more ring, show he's dominant, and he probably can finish top 5, maybe. It's a conversation that we can start to have. And people hated me because I don't have him number 1 right now. Like, that's, yeah. But yeah. Sorry, that was a tangent, completely besides the point. Like, Jason Tatum, at the end of the day, he favors three-pointers, in my opinion, way too much. But, you know, when you're hitting them, you're hitting them.
So when it comes to shot selection, the player that is most similar to LeBron throughout the entire NBA is actually Russell Westbrook, whose shot selection only deviates from LeBron's by about 8%. The next closest player is Julius Randle, followed by Jimmy Butler, Paolo Banchero, and Andrew.
I'm telling you, Jimmy Butler. I said in the beginning, Jimmy Butler. Let's see if I'm right there. Let's see what
Wiggins, who, all similar to LeBron, have extremely balanced shot selections. Now, one of LeBron's most valuable and distinctive traits is his versatility as a player. One of his most underrated accomplishments is that he is the only player in NBA history to be listed at all 5 positions for at least a season. And
that's crazy. This motherfucker played all 5 positions for at least one season. That's crazy. That's crazy. I just don't know. If you are coming into this video, let's say you hate LeBron, you can't stand the motherfucker, he's a piece of shit to you. How do you look at this and say he's trash? I'm not saying you have to say he's better than Jordan. No one's saying you have to say he's better than Jordan. No one's saying you have to say he's even in your top 3. Weird, but whatever. How do you look at this and say he's not at least top 10? Top 20 to you guys? Some of you will say he's not even top 100. Like, how do you look at a player like this and say he's not great? I'm sorry. Every single position, only player to do that. And he had to guard all these positions as well, by the way. And he still has very good defensive stats from all these positions. It's not like one year they deviated like crazy because he was playing center or he was playing the point. Like, no. His defensive stats have been stagnant or gone up, but they have never, like, dipped. So that's just, I'm sorry.
And there's actually a metric that makes an attempt to measure this adaptability, called portability. This metric collects data like passer rating, shooting ability, ball dominance, and usage, as well as defensive versatility, and calculates how portable a player is within any given system. In other words, how well would a player fit if you dropped him into a team with 14 random players? The metric is on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is a perfect score. LeBron has a career portability rating of 7.82, and the most similar players to LeBron in this regard are Chris Paul and Jason Tatum, who are both nearly identical to LeBron with similarity scores of 99.8%. The next closest players are Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden. It's worth noting that there are players around the league who are even more portable than LeBron.
Is he really about to say that? I'm starting to feel like James Harden might be similar to LeBron as far as numbers go. We're going to see.
Been throughout his career, such as Kawhi, Harden, Paul George, and Nikola Jokic. But you can't really be like LeBron if you aren't willing and great at passing the ball. So the next metric we're assessing is passer rating. This metric, similar to a few others, are on a scale from 1 to 10, with of course 10 being the best possible rating. Now, throughout his career, LeBron has had a passer rating of 7.67, and the player most similar to him in this metric is once again Russell Westbrook, who has the same exact career passer rating as LeBron does.
One thing that's frustrating, I know I pause a lot, kill me. I'm a yapper. One thing that frustrates me, though, especially when we're talking about LeBron, is that he's the only player that I heard get killed for passing the ball. Like, he'll have 3 players on him closing him out. He's coming to the paint. He'll have a shooter who's like a 40% from the three-point line shooter. Wide open. 3 players collapsing in on him. He'll throw the ball out, okay, to the 40% three-point shooter, all right? Very good three-point shooter, all right? If you don't know basketball, 40%, very, very good three-point shooter, okay? And that's 40%, most of them being contested shots. So that means he's wide open, no one's guarding him. So this should be like a layup to him. Throws it out, shot goes in. LeBron gets killed for that. He gets killed. Why is LeBron doing that? If he really wants to win the game, why doesn't he just take the shot? It's like, bro, he made a basketball play. 3 players came in and collapsed in on him, and you're mad because he passed it out to the open man? Like, he's the only player that gets killed for that. He gets killed for that. But to talk about my, zesty Jeffries, my Jordan fans out there, like, we sit there and act like Jordan's never done that. Every single time there was a game-winning shot, he's taken it. Even though Jordan doesn't have as many game-winning shots than LeBron. Statistically, this is just a fact. Percentage-wise, this is just a fact. So there's that. And not only that, does the pass to John Paxson not exist? Does the pass to Steve Kerr not exist? When this happened, we said Jordan made a good basketball play. When LeBron does it, well, it's because he's puss. So it's just weird that he gets killed so much for passing the ball, making basketball plays, something that a player should be able to do. Something that you want your player to do. You don't want your player to go up against 3 players and try to make it into the basket because the percentage of that is extremely fucking low. You want them to try to get their shot off if they can, and if that's the last-ditch effort, fuck it, go for it. But if you have a player that's wide open and you know is a good 3-point shooter, you probably want to throw the ball to them. Period.
100% in similarity. The next most similar players are Josh Giddey, Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, and James Harden. And already you can begin to see just how diverse LeBron's skills are. In some categories, he has most in common with big men, while in other categories, he resembles a guard. Which leads us to our next category, and the most important aspect of LeBron's game: usage and creation. Throughout LeBron's career, he has been the engine to every offense he's been a part of, not just with his scoring, but with his playmaking. And to measure this, we can use 3 different metrics: box creation estimate, offensive load, and usage percentage. And this is where LeBron really becomes an anomaly. Players of his size have historically done well generating offense for themselves, but usually it takes a ball-dominant guard to really carry the load of an entire offense the way LeBron has throughout his career. Which is why if we search for the most similar players in these metrics, we will find point guards: Russell Westbrook, Ja Morant, and James Harden being the most similar to LeBron in terms of their usage and creation on offense. However, there are some bigs who have transcended their positional value, such as Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, defensively, LeBron's career hasn't been nearly as consistent. At his peak, he was a phenomenal defender, one of the best in the entire league. But in recent years, he has games where he can be a flat-out liability on the defensive end. And although defense can be a difficult thing to measure, there are a couple metrics that might be able to point us in the right direction in our search for the most similar player to LeBron. Specifically, defensive versatility rating and crafted defensive plus minus are the two metrics we'll be using here. Throughout his career, LeBron has a defensive versatility rating of 60.3 and a crafted defensive plus minus of 1.38. Career defensive numbers that are actually really good, especially for an offensive player of his caliber. And with these two metrics, we can find the player who is most similar to LeBron defensively, both in quality and versatility. And after crunching the numbers, that player is Chris Paul, with a similarity score of 88.2%, followed by Amen Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, and
I'm sticking with my Jimmy Butler pick. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, LeBron defensively, of course, he stepped down over the last few years. He's not in his prime no more. I know that we're talking about, I know we like to talk about LeBron. LeBron playing at the age of 40 is crazy. And don't get me wrong, it is crazy. What he be doing at his age right now, it's crazy. I'm not acting like it isn't crazy. It's crazy. But to act like it's like the same LeBron when he was 28, it's just not true. And I love LeBron. All right? I'm a LeBron stan, okay? Like I said, I show this in a lot of my videos. LeBron's hanging up behind me. You can kind of see a glimpse. I'd move my camera, but if you haven't seen my other videos, I'd go check them out. I pointed out that LeBron poster a few times already. I like LeBron, though. I respect the man. I respect his game. But yeah, his defense has gone down, that's for sure, over the last few years. But he turns it on when he has to. When, you know, his age, when it comes to like the energy he's got, he's 40. Okay, he's 40, dog. Like, he doesn't have the energy to be sitting there and trying to lock someone in a chair. He doesn't have the energy to sit in that chair, dog, for 40 minutes a night. Okay, he's got to pick and choose his spots. But overall, he's still a decent defensive player, but he can be a liability because he's only able to like pick and choose his spots. But back in the day, he was a dog. Young Bron, dog, period.
and Ben Simmons. Oddly enough, despite LeBron not being considered an elite defender for years now, statistically, throughout his career as a whole, he is most comparable to some of the most valuable defensive players in the league. Our next category is what I believe to be the most indicative of measuring similarities from player to player, and that is play style, what role they play on offense, where they find the most value while on the court, and their habits both on and off the ball. Now, quantifying a player's play style is tough to do. What do you measure, and how do you measure it? Well, on CraftedNBA.com, within each player's profile, there is a breakdown of their usage by play type. These plays range from ISO possessions to pick and roll as both the ball handler and the roll man, the post, off-ball cuts, handoffs, screens, and spot up. These 8 play types are essentially the 8 major different roles a player can play on any given possession. In LeBron's case, 4 of these 8 different play types make up for the majority of all of his possessions on offense. Post possessions, spot up shooting, ISO possessions, and his favorite, pick and rolls as the ball handler. Now, if we take a look at these 4 play types and search for the players with the most similar usage percentage across all 4, then the player that has the most similar play style to LeBron is Jimmy Butler, who surprisingly shares many of the same habits both in usage and play type, especially in ISO, pick and roll, and post possessions. The next most similar players to LeBron in this category were Giannis, Jason Tatum, Durant, and Jaylen Brown. For the most part, versatile wings that can generate offense from just about anywhere on the court. Now, athleticism is extremely difficult to measure in the NBA. Jumping high and running fast are feats of athleticism, but so are hand-eye coordination, stamina, and body control. And LeBron's athleticism is a key aspect of his abilities as a player, specifically in regards to his explosiveness. But unless you can get out there with a measuring tape and a stopwatch and grab some marks, it's almost impossible to really get an idea of how athletic LeBron is, or any player is for that matter. So that's exactly what we're going to do, by looking at each player's vertical leap. Now, although this is only one very simple way of measuring an athlete's explosiveness, max vertical leap is proven to be an effective gauge at doing just that. And it's an insightful metric in this context since LeBron's vertical leap has been a massive component to his game throughout the majority of his career. And according to countless sources, at his peak, LeBron had a max vert somewhere between 40 and 44 inches. After all these years, there's been no real confirmation on these numbers, but every single source I could find has his max vert listed somewhere between 40 and 44. So we'll go with something right in the middle, 42 inches. And in terms of vertical leap, there's actually 4 players in the league today who are most similar to LeBron: Anthony Edwards, Ben Simmons, Aaron Gordon, and
Anthony Edwards. Is he going to try to say Anthony Edwards? Is Jimmy Butler on this list? There he is at 17. I'm sticking with my Jimmy Butler pick. But we're going to see what he says. He says it's not someone you're thinking of, so I could be wrong. But we'll see.
And Thompson,
Watch it be
all
like
with
Lou
vertical
Dort.
leaps of 41.5 inches. The next most similar players are Donovan Mitchell, John Morant, Andrew Wiggins, and Derrick Rose. Now, we have factored in playstyle and shot selection, but we also need to consider shooting ability. It's probably the most average aspect of LeBron's game. Throughout his career, LeBron has been a streaky shooter, better as of late than he was in his early days in the league, but all in all, just very average. And this is really important. It's one of the main things that separates him from other great wings like Durant and Kawhi, who have been excellent shooters throughout their careers. And instead of strictly using field goal percentage to measure LeBron's
Let's relax on Kawhi, okay? Let's see Kawhi play more than 45 games before we go ahead and start giving him pats on the back. I'm sorry. Motherfucker, I talked about this a little bit before, but I feel like Kawhi Leonard load managing is the reason his career was fucked. His load management is what's fucked his career. And here's why I'll say that. Because you have players that will run up and down the court that are ready to go, that are ready to play. And you have Kawhi who will play like a few games. And if you do that, you're going to be cold. You understand that? We're like, oh, I'm going to sit out this game, this game, this game, and then I'm going to come play this game at 100%. That's not possible. Can you do that with anything else? Try that with anything else. I'm going to skip the gym 5 days out of the week, and then on the 6th day, I'm going to do max everything. Like, what do you mean? So, yeah, I think when it comes to, like, Kawhi's career, I think that load management shit fucked him. I don't even know why they did that. It seems like he's more injury prone now with load management than he was before load management. So
shooting ability, we are going to be using Crafted NBA's shooting quality metric. It's a stat that combines shooting percentages with spacing and shot value to find what they describe to be the most accurate shooters in the league on a scale from 1 to 100. For context, Steph Curry clocked a perfect 100 out of 100 shooting quality rating for the past 2 seasons. Over his 21 seasons in the league, LeBron has a career average shooting quality rating of 61.8. And right now, the player who is almost exactly the same caliber of shooter as LeBron is Jaylen Brown, with a career shooting quality rating of 61.9 and a similarity score of 99.8%, followed by Rui Hachimura, Brandon Ingram, OG Anunoby, and Luka Doncic.
Damn.
And with one more category left, we cannot leave out the most important thing of all: how good at basketball LeBron is. A player can pass like him, jump like him, shoot like him, but if they aren't dominating games, how similar to LeBron can they possibly be? And to measure dominance, instead of looking at accolades and accomplishments, we are going to look at purely how great they have been in their time in the NBA through the lens of an advanced metric: Crafted plus minus. Now, this metric is an aggregate of 10 other advanced metrics. It's essentially an all-in-one of all the all-in-ones. It's just what we're looking for. And LeBron's career Crafted plus minus is 7.66, which is the second highest in NBA history, only behind Michael Jordan. So, although we're looking for the most similar player to LeBron, really we're looking for the best players in the league in this category. And in terms of Crafted plus minus, that player is Nikola Jokic, with a career Crafted plus minus of 7.62 and a similarity score of 99.5%.
Jimmy Butler's 10, Luka is 9, Davis is 8. So I can tell you right now, he's not going to say Anthony Davis, and he's not going to say Luka. He's not going to say KD. Giannis, I don't think so as well. Joel, definitely not. Harden, the fact that he keeps saying as a player that we're probably not thinking of, I would say it might be Harden. It might be James Harden. I've seen James Harden on these lists a few times already as far as who's closest in similarity to LeBron. If that's true, I'm going to want to hear his explanation. I know as far as the numbers go, he's comparing who's closest to LeBron on these number sets, and that's cool, but I want to hear him actually give a breakdown as well to who he picks. I know Jimmy Butler's on this list again, but he's at 10, and I don't think Jimmy Butler was on the last list. I'm still sticking by my pick. I'm not sure if Jimmy Butler's gonna win, but I'm still sticking by my pick. But let's continue.
Easily the most similar player to LeBron in terms of dominance. The next closest players are Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Joel Embiid. And with that, we have assessed all 55 players across all 10 categories.
Okay.
Now, did all this research and number crunching take me far longer than I was anticipating? Yes.
This is why I like this guy. He's a fucking nerd. I respect it. All right, guys. Drum roll. Here we go. Who we think is the closest to LeBron? As far as the data, it seems like he's going to be leaning towards a James Harden. I'm not sure. I'm sticking about my Jimmy Butler pick. We're going to see what he says.
Was it worth it? I think so. Because in a league where there isn't anyone quite like LeBron, I think with very high accuracy, I have narrowed the search for the most LeBron-like player down to one. After scanning a field of 70 potential matches across 10 different categories and dozens of metrics, the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA today is Jimmy Butler. It's kind of crazy, right?
Ah!
In the end,
Ah! Fuck! No ball. Suck it. God damn it. Ah! I know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Fucking Kobe and swoosh. Get out of here.
Butler finished with an average similarity score of 80.81% across all 10 categories, finishing just ahead of Giannis and Durant and having a sizable lead on Jokic and Luka. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the player who came out on top wasn't a guy you would expect. At least for me, Jimmy Butler has not been a player that comes to mind when I think of similar players to LeBron. But when looking at his...
It's okay. You know why it did for me? Because I know ball.
scores throughout each category, turns out he is eerily similar in many ways. The only categories he didn't score well in were usage and creation and dominance, which makes sense. Butler isn't nearly the playmaker or as ball dominant as LeBron has been, and quite frankly, there's only a few players that even come close to LeBron in terms of dominance. But looking back, I think the clearest glimpse we got into just how similar Butler can be to LeBron was in the 2020 NBA Finals. Throughout this series, Jimmy Butler did a lot more facilitating than we're used to seeing from him. He was hyper efficient from the floor, did his best jack-of-all-trades impression, averaging a very LeBron-esque 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists a game for the series. He seemed to have been much more in control of the Heat's offense, more assertive and aggressive with his possessions, getting to the line 9 times a game. It almost makes you wonder, if Butler played that super high usage role more often, which he is clearly capable of doing, would it become more obvious just how similar to LeBron he really is? He has fit well within the more traditional wing position throughout his career, but if Butler were to take on the role of a point forward, would it become more apparent that his game has more than just shades of LeBron in it? It's only ironic that the series that he played most like LeBron was, of course, against LeBron himself. Now, here are the full results from this experiment, with the 70 total players involved condensed to the 55 with the highest eventual scores. And there's a few interesting things going on here. Giannis finished just behind Butler. Throughout his career, he has shared similarities with LeBron, but in very different ways than Butler has. Kevin Durant, of all players, came in third, which caught me by surprise. Again, not a player I would associate with LeBron's game, but the number...
Jokic being ahead of Luka is shocking to me. Jokic being up on Luka is shocking to me. That is shocking to me. James being ahead of Kawhi is shocking to me. But you know what, Kawhi? Maybe you would be ahead of James if you played more. Paul George being on the list, that's not too shocking. Jason Tatum, meh. Draymond Green, Donovan Mitchell. The more we go down this list, the less shocked I am. But the 10 over here, like, yeah, having Jokic ahead of Luka's kind of crazy, and Kawhi being behind Harden's a little crazy, but when you sit there and think about it, maybe not that much.
Numbers say otherwise. James Harden finished in 6th, and I actually do see some similarities there, especially in their playmaking, ability to generate offense, versatility, and dominance. Ben Simmons, one of very few players to get the LeBron comp early in his career, finished all the way down in 37th. The biggest difference here being that despite being a guard, Simmons cannot generate his own offense outside of 12 feet from the basket, leading to completely different shooting splits, play styles, and usage. Visually, their games have looked similar, but in reality, outside of the size, athleticism, and passing, they actually don't have as much in common as you would think. Among the young guys in the league, it is Cade Cunningham who has the most in common with LeBron, finishing 17th, followed by a player who has drawn the comparison recently in Paolo Banchero. The next closest in this group of young players are Jalen.
Y'all need not sleep on Cade Cunningham. Let me tell you something. Do you guys see that? Hold on. I need to zoom in so you guys can really see this. Do you see this? Do you see what that says? The Pistons are positive. The Pistons are positive. They're one game in the positive. Not negative, positive. They were 500 the other day. They're positive. All right? Detroit, for the first time ever, may start being good, okay? So, yeah, don't be sleeping on Cunningham, okay? That's a dog right there. Yeah, keep an eye out on Detroit, dog. If they get their shit together, they go ahead and continue to be on this uphill trajectory, they're going to be something to mess with. In the East, can you imagine a good Detroit team in the East? Damn. Okay, now we got some excitement to talk about here, but we'll see. I give it like maybe one more season. I want to see how they do this year, see how they finish off, and see what happens next year. But one more season, let's see what happens.
Lynn Williams, Franz Wagner, and Anthony Edwards. Now, I really wanted to add some past players into this experiment like Magic Johnson, Scottie Pippen, and Grant Hill, but many of the advanced metrics used throughout my research were not available until relatively recently. So, unfortunately, with the method of measurement that I used, there just isn't enough data on these players to make an accurate assessment. Overall, it seems that, for the most part, it is the best players in the league that have the most in common with LeBron, which is interesting since there was only one metric that specifically measured dominance. But it would make sense that players that pass well, generate a lot of offense, have a high usage on good efficiency, and can defend at least a decent level will have the most in common with LeBron. Go through the list of great players around the league, and they all play a very large, impactful, and versatile role on the court. And their ability to do this...
But LeBron's trash. How is it that LeBron is similar to the best players in the league? That's not even possible, because I've been told over and over and over again, LeBron's not even top 10. So how is it that, you know, the most similar players to him are the best players in the league? That's stupid. According to every comment that I read on Facebook, that makes no sense. But no, that is kind of crazy. You actually sit there and think about it, dog. LeBron's game is similar to the best players that you can think of that play the game. Like, LeBron is a state-of-the-art fucking alien, dog. Like, I'm just saying.
Leads them to a style of play that is similar to LeBron's one way or another. So, there you have it. In case you were wondering who exactly is the most similar player to LeBron, the answer is Jimmy Butler. But let me know what you think. Was the method used to determine our outcome effective, or are there other metrics out there that could lead us to a more accurate conclusion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, until next time.
Alright, that was another banger from JxmyHighroller's. I liked it. I like that I was right. It just reinforces my feeling that I know ball, dog. I got a basketball on my wall. I got LeBron on my wall. I got D-Rose on my wall. You know, I ball. In all seriousness, though, that was a good video. I liked it. My only problem with Jimmy is it seems like what's going on with him lately? Like, the way he's been crying, I'm just sorry. He may be similar in LeBron as far as, like, playing, but as far as, like, his attitude towards the game, absolutely not. People call LeBron a crybaby and shit like that, but Jimmy Butler says he lost his love for the game because his team is not winning as much and he wants to be traded. Like, it's just... But what's happening? It seems the Suns want him. I don't think the Suns can get him unless they get rid of Bradley Beal. And Bradley Beal has made it known that he wants to stay in Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns should trade Kevin Durant. That's an opinion piece. I don't know shit about that. Jimmy Butler is more likely than not to rejoin the Heat this week when the suspension ends. That makes the most sense. I mean, at the end of the day, the only team I can really see him being traded to would be Phoenix, but the only way that Phoenix can get Jimmy Butler is if they get Bradley Beal off the team and trade him to Miami. They can't trade Bradley Beal off the team because Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause, and it seems like there's no indication that Bradley Beal's going to get rid of his no-trade clause to go to Miami. So, and I've heard these rumors of Golden State Warriors wanting him or probably getting him. I don't think that's going to happen. Nonetheless, I still respect his game. I just don't like his attitude at times. But great video. Great time. If you guys stayed this long, I respect it. Thank you. If you want to join my Discord, it's right there in the corner. If you like the content, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I upload content like this all the time. Basketball, drama, you name it, I got it. I'm probably going to be doing live streams soon. I'm probably going to be trolling people on video games and shit like that and just talking with the homies. So, if you want to be part of that shit, just subscribe. Be part of the grow. Be part of the blow up, y'all. I know I'm a small channel, but I'm going to keep striving. I'm going to keep pushing this content. I'm going to try to get my face out there as much as I possibly can. And I appreciate y'all being part of this journey. You know, who knows where the train's going to end? You know what I mean? We have just enough fuel right now because I got school coming up, so I might get busier. Of course, I got a wife, so that's going to keep me busy. And, you know, at some point, I got to call it quits if I'm not getting there. You know what I mean? I don't know when will I call quits? A year? 2 years? I don't know. As long as I have the free time, y'all, I'm going to keep trying to make this content for you. But at some point, the train's got to stop. But right now, the train just started. So let's go ahead and we got enough fuel in the tank to just keep going for now. And hopefully there's a gas station ahead. Or if we're on a train, it wouldn't be a gas station. A fuel station? Hopefully there's a fuel station in the distance. Do we know for sure? We don't know. You know, right now I'm at 38 subscribers, so we'd say there's probably not going to be a fuel station in the distance, but we're going to act like there is, and maybe there will be. So I appreciate y'all joining. I appreciate y'all liking the content, and I appreciate y'all. Have a good one.